Today I'm going to show off 3 fantastic watches from the same brand. And we're going to ask the question, why haven't you bought a Christopher Ward yet? Let's get into it! Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. Today I'm going to show off not 1, not 2, but 3 beautiful watches from Christopher Ward. Yeah. Now, believe it or not, CW have been around for 20 years now, and in the last 5 years, I've seen this watch brand turn from being a watch brand that make very good watches at great value prices to become a huge player in not only the British watchmaking market, but the whole world. Their levels of design, finishing, and those little intricate bits of detail that you would only have got with Swiss watchmaking, Christopher Ward now does. Anyway, I asked good old CW if they could send to me for review 3 lovely beauties: land, sea, and air. Yes, my perfect 3 watch collection. Now, all 3 of these watches have been officially approved by the British Ministry of Defence. And if it's good enough for the MOD, it's gotta be good enough for us. Each around the £1,000 mark. You, the consumer, get a 60-day return policy plus a 60-month movement warranty, and you get the honour of being in the Christopher Ward Club. So let's see these watches, and at the end, get my wife's opinion of them. Are you CW ready? Let's go. Right, to start this off, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the land watch. The C65 Sandhurst. And as you can see, this definitely resembles the British military watches of the 70s and 80s. In fact, its inspiration comes from the Smith's W10. There's not a lot I don't like with this watch. It's hugely legible. Some people may be against the faux patina on the dial, but I think it contrasts so well with the printed numerals and the Christopher Ward logo. This is definitely a fantastic choice for the do-it-all watch. You may think that this watch is quite a simple looking one, but if you turn this case around, you will see that we have some fantastic sculpting to the sides of the case. The lugs curve beautifully. It's certainly more a refined watch than the Smith's W10 ever was. And take a look at that huge 3 o'clock crown. Does that say ready for business, or does that say ready for business? We've got a boxed sapphire glass protecting this matte dial. I love that red ring that's on the outside of the embossing of the Christopher Ward logo. What I also love is the heraldic badge of the British Army slapped on that case back, calling this the British Army W10. Christopher Ward bracelets are magnificent. Definitely do remind me of my oyster bracelet on my Explorer. This is what they call the Bader bracelet. All brushed, screwed links, solid end links, solid links. We've got a milled clasp. It is quite a long clasp, almost as long as the case, which me personally, I'd love it to be a little bit smaller, just because we're dealing with a 38mm watch here. However, I know a lot of you guys are going to appreciate the on-the-fly adjustments, very simple to use, and engineered just the way you want it to be. From the pushing of the double deployment clasp to the shutting, it just feels lovely. A fantastic field watch that has refinement and tooliness all wrapped into one. Definite fan of the Sandhurst. I really do love that big hour hand with that quite coarse brushing. Does reflect really well in the light. Now, even though the hour markers and the handset is a different coloured loom to the numerals, it does not stop this watch from being a glowworm. Very legible in the dark, and for me, well, you don't really need much more. So it's time for the air part of the collection, and I give you the C63 Colchester, named after the HQ of the British Army Parachute Regiment. Now, this watch is insanely light, ridiculously light. That's because it's made from injected forged carbon. Without the strap, it's about 36 grams. So we're talking the weight of my Casios, but this is a very well engineered watch with a little something missing, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. No, you're right. we do have a crown, but it is retractable. Now, interestingly, the dial and the chapter ring is also forged carbon, but has this fantastic, like graphite texture to it. On first glance, it looks like the dial part is floating, separated from the chapter ring, but it is held together at the hour markers, and those markers are in red. Now, curiously enough, we do have the Christopher Ward logo on the dial of this one, and me personally, I'm not against that, as the crown is safely tucked away in the case, and we have a screwed in case back. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. I've sealed this case together. This watch is water resistant to 150 meters. Looking at the case back as well, we have an embossing of the British Army Parachute Regiment, which is awesome again. Looking at the strap, well, it's what they call the Tide strap. It's actually made from reclaimed materials from the sea. Very nice feel to it, quite strong. I personally would like this to have been on a NATO style. It would make it that little bit tallier for me. However, I do understand that you wouldn't see the case back. Although I'm a little bit uneasy with the weight of this thing, I really do like the construction of it and the design of the dial. The loom is great, and I guess if those parachutists are jumping out the plane in the darkness of the night, if they're going to want to know the time in free fall, well, they got good loom for it. Very cool watch.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
So last but not least, the Sea Watch, approved by His Majesty's Royal Navy. I give you the C65 Dartmouth, and this is probably my favourite of the three. Yes, it has the signature Christopher Ward light catcher case and dial indices, but this is a brilliant tool watch for wearing every day, all day. This is inspired by the 1967 Omega Seamaster 300 reference 0552. Very loosely inspired, because to me, still when I think of Christopher Ward, I've got this dial in my head. Now, me personally, I'm not a fan of the Trident counterbalance on their Trident C60s. This one looks more ready for business. We still have a handset that is synonymous with Christopher Ward, but I do love how sparse that dial is. We've got another superb crown at 3 o'clock, nice and big with a red ring printed on it. This is a 200-meter diver thanks to the screw down crown and the screw down case back, where we can see an embossing of the Royal Navy insignia. And once again, CW don't hide their influences by calling this the Royal Navy 0552. Now, I've got it on this Tropic strap, which I feel is like the FKM rubber vulcanized. Really soft to the touch, very pliable, will be very comfortable on wrist. These days I do prefer divers on these sort of straps. Love the texture underneath. That's going to give some breathing room to your wrist. Just well thought out, well made. Now on to the bezel. The insert is sapphire, which is awesome. It's also loomed, which you're going to want to see. 120 click, unidirectional. I am a bit nitpicky with my bezels. The grip is polished. I prefer it to be matte or brushed, so you get a little bit more grip with it. But have a listen. Ooh. Ooh. Only the slightest of back plays, but a very nice refined click. I just wish the grip was more brushed so I can get more purchase on it. Now we got to come on to this watch's party piece, which is the loom. Take a look at this bad boy. 2, 3, 4 glowworms having a party. This is a loom dial, and I was not expecting this whatsoever. Hugely impressed by this, and another great reason to want to buy it. Highly legible, highly cool. So yes, very impressed by all three watches. Their similarities come from the finish, because these things are so well made, so well thought out, that you would think this company has been going for 80, 100 years. Now, all three watches are powered by a Sellita SW200, which is COSC certified. That means the movement has been tested to make sure it only loses 4 seconds to plus 6 seconds a day. Operating all three is fantastic. 2 huge crowns on the Sandhurst and the Dartmouth. With the Colchester, it's a novelty. You have to push in that crown that opens it up. It's the only watch with a date complication at 6 o'clock. So we have one position that changes the date. Pull the crown out to the end and you can set the time. All three have hacking and hand winding. 28,800 beats per hour. So a smooth 4 Hz sweep. Easy to operate and very satisfying.
Hello.
on my 6.5-inch wrist, and these watches look great. The Sandhurst, well, to me, it's a perfect size. This is a watch I could see someone wearing every day. It's a very subtle Christopher Ward. One of those watches that look simple to start with, but when you look closer, you can see the refinement in the chamfering and the sculpting of that case. And it is a very comfortable bracelet. Now with the Colchester, well, you don't feel like you're actually wearing a watch. And I still can't get my head around light watches being quite expensive. I know I'm old school, but I still put value in the weight of something. I know I shouldn't. Also in my head, I'm thinking, where's the crown gone? And I just have to push it and sort of retract it just to make sure it's there, you know? And finally the Dartmouth, and wow, come to Papa. Look how that hugs. It hugs the wrist so well because of the sculpting of the case. Love that box dome sapphire. This watch is very good. Yep, I think this is my favorite. And I know in my head, the loom on this is incredible. The tropic strap is so comfortable, and just the look of it, the design, the big crown. Yeah, I think it would be this one for me. So there you go, what a collection of 3 fantastic Christopher Ward watches. All inspired by British military, approved by British military. Yes, 60 days return policy, 60 months warranty on the engine of your watch. There is no better reason than now to try a Christopher Ward. And in today's watch market, this brand has to be seen as a big player these days. They are a very transparent company. That alone makes me want to own a Christopher Ward. Makes me want to be a part of the club, and in fact I'm lucky enough to have joined the club. More on that watch later. But these 3, awesome. Bravo, Christopher Ward. So here it is, my wife's thoughts on all 3 watches, starting with the Sandhurst. This is a bit boring. It is very legible, isn't it? Not really much else to say. Next up, the Colchester. Oh my God, this is light. Like something you'd pick up in one of those arcade grabber machines. I do like the dial though, has a chalky feel to it. Does look like a watch someone would wear if they were climbing up a mountain. And finally, the Dartmouth. No, too much blue. Blue, 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 blue. Also, I don't like the jigsaw piece on the dial. So there you go. I mean, she didn't hate everyone. Think her favourite was the Colchester. I might have to educate her about the jigsaw logo. But yeah. Thank you, Christopher Ward, for sending these bad boys to me. I'll ship them back to you ASAP. Thank you to all that has watched till the end of the show. If you want a bit more, click there and join. But if I've got you for a few more minutes, yeah, go and have a look at this one. This is great. This is lovely. What a lovely episode. Also, Christopher Ward watches. They're lovely. Go on, click it. You'll love it. Click it, click it.